Hi, people watching this on the second channel for some reason. Hi. I'm gonna review the new Knocked Loose album for literally no reason, even though I've never reviewed music on any of my channels before. So, oh, cool camera freeze. That's neat. That's a really cool one. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about the new album. I haven't listened to much Knocked Loose, except for like last year when I first was introduced to them, when they released Deep in the Willow and Everything is Quiet Now, which are both tracks that I really liked. If you don't know what Knocked Loose is, they are a hardcore, almost kind of deathcore in some ways. Not really. I don't know. They're a very heavy hardcore band. And that's really what they're known for. Is they're known for being insanely heavy. They were at Coachella last year, I think, and it definitely did not make them go pop or anything, you know. Considering Deep in the Willow and Everything is Quiet Now were two of like some of the heaviest tracks I had heard last year. But besides those tracks, I've not really listened to much Knocked Loose. Also, I have no script for this video. I want to say that. I'm just going off the cuff. The only thing I have pulled up is the album itself, so I can have reminders. But I have nothing else. What's going on with this? Okay. So, I literally just finished listening to it, and it's a really good album. It's not very long at all, which I'm fine with. Not every album has to be long. I know the prog metal musician says that. I don't care. Shut up. It's like 20-something minutes, I think. Something like that. I don't know. And it's really good. I really liked it. I remember the first song I heard off of this album was a little while ago, like a week ago. I listened to Blinding Faith, and I was kind of on the fence about it. I don't know what it was. I think it had been so long since I had heard Deep in the Willow and Everything is Quiet Now that I kind of forgot about Brian's vocal technique, which I feel like is kind of hit or miss for a lot of people, including me. But I decided to give it another shot today, and I listened to the entire album, and it clicked for me a lot more. I feel like it gives it its own charm in a way. But I'm not gonna go fully track by track because again I don't have a script for this, so I don't exactly remember everything that happens, and that was literally my first listen to the album. I remember Thirst. That's the first track on the album. Great opener, fantastic album opener, really good, really heavy. Piece by Piece. That was also another good one. Suffocate, the one with Poppy, is very good. This is one of my personal favorites on the album. Is Don't Reach For Me. There's some like more weird moments here where they kind of like drop out the guitar completely. I know in a Knocked Loose song sounds weird, and it's like almost these kind of like, I don't want to say jazzy because it's not really jazzy, but like these drum and bass sections along with Brian just fucking screaming his guts out. And that's one of my personal favorites. It goes very hard. I really like it. Moss Covers All is one of their shortest. I think actually it is their shortest song. It's 47 seconds. Might as well be a grindcore song. I actually like it a lot. I think it's a pretty funny song. Take Me Home is another one of my personal favorites. I really like that song. Goes very hard. I love it. Slaughterhouse Part 2 featuring Chris Motionless. I was a little bit worried about going into this one because I'm not a huge Motionless in White fan. I don't hate Motionless in White, but they're not really for me in a lot of ways, I think. Especially their new album, I just wasn't a huge fan of. But I mean, I did like Slaughterhouse. I thought that was a pretty good song. And Slaughterhouse 2 is also a good song. I think on this album, it's maybe my least favorite, but it's still very good. The Calm That Keeps You Awake, another great one. Here's Blinding Faith. I was talking about Blinding Faith earlier. And I've come around to it, I think. I think it's still kind of on the lower end for me on this album, where I still like it. I still think it's a good song, but it doesn't reach the same heights as some of the other songs on this album. Like the last song on this album, Sit and Mourn, which is my personal favorite track. It reminds me a lot of Everything Is Quiet Now, which is my favorite single out of the two that were released last year. I think it's their longest track. So on this album, we get both Knocked Loose's longest song to date and their shortest song to date. And by longest, it's not like 10 minutes or anything. It's not a prog metal album. It's only 4 minutes, 48 seconds. So it's not like insanely long at that. But it's my personal favorite because I feel like it's the most experimental on this album, and I think it really works. I think a lot of the ambient stuff that they kind of tried out with Everything Is Quiet Now, and then like really leaned into with this song, because the ambient stuff that they experimented with and Everything Is Quiet Now was really only at the ending. And Sit and Mourn is kind of all that. Like, the entire song is very much built around that ambience. It's still heavy, it's still Knocked Loose, but if there was ever to be a Knocked Loose ballad, it would probably be this, where it's slightly less heavy. I love it. I think it's an incredible song. One that I'll probably go back to a lot. It's probably their saddest song to date. Yeah, I think it's fun. I really like it. God, I can't speak. Great song. So overall, amazing album. I really like it, but that doesn't mean it's exempt from criticism. I do have a few criticisms with it. Sometimes I think some songs are a little bit... I'm a little more on the fence of certain elements of some of the songs, because I feel like some of their experimentation doesn't entirely work. And also lyrically, the lyrics don't matter as much in this album, considering it's just very, very good. Like, all the sound and everything throughout this album, except for those little moments that I was talking about, it's all great, and the production is great and all that stuff. The riffs are great, the drumming is great, the vocals are great, the bass is... it's a chunky bass. But I feel like sometimes I was reading the lyrics while listening to the album just so I'd know what they were saying. And especially on songs like Blinding Faith, I feel like lyrically it's not the strongest. It's not terrible. And I mean, again, the lyrics don't really matter in this sense, but you know, as someone who does write a lot of lyrics, I guess there's something to be desired there. It's just not like, it's not the best ever, but again, they don't matter that much, because honestly, you're not in listening to Knocked Loose to hear poetic lyrics, you know? You're in it to bang your head until your head fucking falls off. That's what you're in Knocked Loose for. And this album will give you that. It has a lot of insane heavy moments. It has a lot of cool breakdowns. It's just a really good album. Overall, I think I'd give it like a 9 out of 10. I really like it. It's my favorite album of 2024 so far, and it is also the only album I've listened to in 2024 so far. Cool. That actually released in 2024, I should say. I just haven't gotten around to a lot of new music. I know Bring Me the Horizon released something new recently, so maybe I'll check that out. Maybe I'll do another review. I don't know. I don't know why I made this video. Who the fuck cares? Okay, bye.